My name is Pedro Moreira. I'm 22 years old. I'm from Portugal, from Braga, from the north of Portugal, and I study aeronautical engineering in Covilha, in Universidade da Beira Interior. Um, I finished my bachelor's in aeronautical engineering last year, and I'm currently finishing my first year of master's, thankfully. I grew up in a music school. I've
Okay.
always been always very involved in hobbies and, like you mentioned, in arts. And I've always been very creative, a very creative person. And this is how I kind of found out that I wanted to be in engineering when I grew up.
Okay, yeah.
And I didn't knew specifically that I wanted to be an aeronautical engineer, but then looking at all of the options, it was the only one that kind of popped.
So thank you for introducing yourself. I'm going now to ask you some few questions. So when and why did you join EUROAVIA?
So I joined Aerospace and Covilha in 2021 as a
Yes.
pedagogic department member. And over that time, I kind of started understanding how associations work and how to work in a team and how to develop projects and stuff like that. Then I realized that I wanted to do more. And that's why on the business year of 2023 and 2024, I got elected as president of Adobe and Covilha. That's where I got the opportunity to attend the EMEAC in Istanbul of 2024, and it was basically my EUROAVIA awakening. I didn't understand much of how it worked before that because I feel like Covilha it's kind of independent locally, so it's not as connected to the international side as other local groups are. And when I went to the EMEAC in Istanbul, it was like this whole new world full of things that I've heard before but didn't pay much attention. And it was there when I started asking questions. I started getting more interested about the projects, about the things that they do, and though that was my first international experience. And then I was already offered the opportunity to host the AMEAC Covilha in 2024. So that was where I got a little bit more involved in international events. And since organizing events, it's always been a thing that I really, really like to do and that I've been getting a lot of experience in. I figured that joining the international events working group would be the best working group for me.
Why did you want to be an IB?
That's kind of a complicated question.
I'm
Okay.
sorry.
I know. So I've always felt like um, I'm the type of person that wants to implement change and wants to contribute to things that I feel like they are bigger than myself. And the idea popped in my mind actually on the EMEAC Istanbul, but at the time it was just like I was getting acquainted of the reality of the international side, and I was chatting with the IB at the time and the DIB at the time, and I was like still trying to figure out how everything worked. Later on, I was approached by a former IB and later for an IB that I feel like it's different when I mean you feel like you can do it, but you don't know if you're ready for it. But when you have people that have gone through it and that come to you and say like, I feel like you could take it. I feel like you are ready for it. I trust in you to do it. Then you'll be like, okay, if they trust me to do it, then maybe I could actually do it.
Let's say the main problem you think you really wanted to change as an IB.
I would say that the first one that I realized was the amount of workload and the not having enough time or resources for the IB to manage uh, the whole scope of the projects and still keep an eye on the working groups and still keep connection with the local groups. And it was actually on the very preliminary stages of my experience in the AMIAC in Istanbul that I was chatting with the former IB, and they were telling me about these challenges that they were facing. And I remember like having the idea, for example, of the project management committee, and at the time I didn't know that it was a thing. And I was like, why don't you have one person responsible for each project to relieve a little bit of weight of your shoulders? And I remember they'll be like, what the hell? Like that's a thing that we've been thinking about. That's a project management committee and so on. Regarding the local groups, this is one that I felt personally was the lack of connection with international side, because
Oh yes.
I was
Oh
myself
yes.
a person that was disconnected before, and I was like, oh, I'm happy with what I do locally. I don't know what EUROAVIA does, but so far I feel like I don't need it. And then I went to Istanbul and I started realizing, oh, we actually could benefit from this and benefit from that, and we could work and align in this way.
Mm-hmm.
And I made a promise kind of to myself that while I was still in Covilha, I would do everything in my power to connect the local group as much as possible with the international side. And I feel like now being DIB, I have a whole new other opportunity to increase this goal that I have to bring the local groups closer to the international side.
So, can you tell me what the Auravia spirits means to you?
Oof, that's kind of a very like layered question. Okay, so I feel like the EUROAVIA spirit, it's not something that can be described. It's something that really needs to be felt. Because, for example, when you talk with other people that go to international events, you just mention, oh, the EUROAVIA awakening, and they just know what you're talking about. And none of us can explain what it really is. But I resemble to this is something that I noticed in Istanbul, is the fact that what connects us, it's actually not the fact that we are engineers, also that, but not primarily that, at least from my experience in congresses. What connects us is the fact that we are leaders in our own ways. It would be in our projects, in our local groups, in our working groups, in our tasks. And I feel like we deal with the same problems, with the same stress, with the same anxieties.
So,
Mhm.
can you tell me what is your top three projects of this year, the coming year?
Okay, so I'm trying to recap what I presented
Yeah.
in the EMEAC. I would say one of the projects that I was most proud of was the EUROAVIA's Cultural Exchange Program. This is exactly the project that is going to bring to EUROAVIA what I just mentioned, the connection with people, not about the technical, but about the culture, about the backgrounds, about the personality. Um, this is a project that I'm really proud of, have thought about. The second one is, of course, the project management committee. I feel like it's a project that has kind of followed me since day one, that I stepped up in the international side. Um, and the third project, um, I will say something more soft. It's actually something that I was very happy to work in, was the merchandising for the working groups.
What's your, I don't know, your biggest hobbies and what do you do when you have time, spare time, and stuff like that?
I feel like I am a person that does a little bit of everything. But I would say that my major hobby is really music. I've learned violin for 9 years when I was young.
Wow.
And during quarantine, I didn't have nothing to do. So I started learning piano and developing my singing skills. And I would say my biggest hobby is actually to do covers or just to sit on the piano on a Saturday afternoon and just enjoy it.
So for me, I think I have a lot to write, and so for me, I have everything I need. Do you want to add something or?
No, I would just like to thank you for the time and for the commitment of doing this. Really appreciate it.